Hello, welcome to Caesar Snack Sandwich. Today I have a very quick video for you on Spool. Now, Spool is pretty interesting. It's a yield aggregation tool. You can kind of think Yearn, but there's a lot more different things in here. There's a lot of user friendliness in here, and it's kind of aimed a little bit at institutional stuff. Now, if you look down here, it says Spool version 1, and now it's Spool version 2. Up, when you open it, you'll see on a tab, it'll say Spool version 2. So that's kind of why I'm doing a video on it, because they've released version 2. Version 2 has a whole bunch of new features. I will read the docs. I will go through the features in the docs and read them one to one. But before I do so, I just want to kind of show you a few things here on the front end to give you a little taste of what's going on here. So obviously people can deposit. So you can come to these vaults and you can read through them. You can see their APR and their risk and TVL, or well, they call it TVR because it's not locked. It's TVL, total volume routed. So money went through these vaults into the farms to farm places, right? So you can kind of open it up. And then when you open it up, you can kind of see the strategies, and you can also read what are these strategies and how do they work. Okay, now that's all good and good, but let's go to vault management and create vault. So you can permissionlessly create your own vault. Okay. And there are some features in here that I'll talk about when I go to the docs, but let's take a look kind of what this is. So right now they're currently supported only on Ethereum, and they have 23 pre-made strategies that you can choose from. So let's say I were to go to Spool Labs, I select my strategies. So then I can kind of go through here and I can read what do these strategies do, what is their risk score based on Spool Labs and the 7-day APR. So let's say I just choose, I don't know, choose one of these, this one, and Morpho. Okay, so I've chosen 3 in this case, right? And then I choose allocation, and it's like it asks me to choose my allocation risk profile, so to speak. So I have this char here, and as you see, as I pull this, let's say all the way over to the green, you can see the allocation numbers change, right? So this is lower risk, right? And this is higher risk. So obviously, as I lower the risk, then my expected APR should probably go down. And then as I raise the risk, then my expected APR should go up. And you can see I take on more risk. I'm using Morpho instead of Yearn, and Aave more than Yearn in that case, but some assets are still in Yearn. And then final configuration, I can choose the fees, the performance fee and so forth for this vault. And maybe if I want to do some deposit fees and stuff like that. Okay. Give it some name, give it some stuff, and then I can deploy this vault. So that kind of gives you just a little quick taste of what's going on right there. But let's swing over to the docs and talk a little bit about the features of Spool version 2. Okay, so I'm going to go through these and I'm going to just talk a little bit. I'll try to do it as quick as I can. So volatile assets, at first, these in version 1, they only accepted stable coins, USDC, DAI, and so forth, but now they're like accepting ETH or pretty much any token, any volatile token that is supported on those strategies as a deposit token, right? Multi-asset vaults. So this is where a vault is able to take 2 assets as a deposit and then send those 2 assets to like liquidity pools and stuff like that. Like maybe, like if let's say in this case it says ETH USDC, right? So maybe I can take some ETH and some USDC. I can send some of the ETH to Aave, some of the USDC to Aave, some of it to Yearn, some of it to Yearn, and then the rest of the ETH and USDC I pair it together and put it on, I don't know, SushiSwap and Farm Sushi or whatever, right? So there's multi-asset vaults. Gated vaults basically just say, hey, if you want to deposit in this vault, you need to have some tokens or an NFT or something like that. Vault actions. This is an interesting one. So it's like, when you deposit or withdraw, we want to perform some actions. So some they say like paying for or locking in insurance when participating in the vault. So just like when someone does deposit, they automatically some of their deposit, or it asks for a little bit more money, and it is used to pay for some feature, like for example insurance. Deposit receipts. So I presume in version 1 they did not issue you a token when you deposit it, but now they issue you a Vault token. It says sometimes they will be NFTs and sometimes they will be ERC20 tokens, okay? Time lock deposits. Oh, I don't want to click on it actually. Time lock deposits are just basically when you deposit, you cannot withdraw immediately, like because there are some strategies out there where, you know, the strategy itself has a timer, like maybe like an options type strategy where there's an expiry date, or something like this on that. Okay. Compound claim switch. This is gives you the it gives the users the ability to decide if they want to auto compound their rewards or they want to keep those rewards in kind and actually stake them or do something with them while they wait. Okay, so for example, let's say I was farming. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Let's say I farming Aave, and then and I don't want to sell the Aave because I'm bullish on Aave, but I don't want to hold just like idle Aave, so I'll stake the Aave to get the staking Aave rewards as well. So that's that. Now it does say that this is not currently in the docs here. It says this is not a V2 MVP feature and will be added at a later date. So perhaps it's not live quite yet. Compliance, they talk a little bit about, we are like they're very focused on compliance because, like I said, they want to attract institutional users. This asynchronized do hard work. I believe in Spool 1, they had like a do hard work is like kind of like harvest call on all of the strategies, right? But they found out maybe that like some strategies aren't ready to be harvested, so they've made it so that like those strategies can be harvested individually as opposed to as a whole thing. Smart administrator role, so you can give more people the power to be the Vault operator. So like if I created the Vault, I would be the Vault creator, but maybe I want to also give my friend ownership so we can both make decisions and run that Vault. And again, that's something to appeal to the institutions. And then these management fees. Now, of course, there is still the Spool token, right? And you can stake the Spool token for your share of the performance fee. There is a performance fee on all of these strategies, and these strategies are they take that performance fee out of the rewards and they give them to these Spool stakers. I believe that it's like an 80-20 split, 80% to the stakers and 20% to the strategy to the treasury, which is owned by the stakers. There is one more thing I wanted to mention, so let me quickly find it here in the docs. Okay, so here is this other idea that is pretty interesting here. Okay, so it has Spool buffer system, so the vaults hold a small buffer so that it's easier to withdraw. And this is kind of normal standard practice with vaults right now. So it kind of there's a small buffer, like so a small amount of the money is not always locked up in things, so that it can be withdrawing and deposits will be a little bit cheaper. This one here, Smart Vault Inheritance. This is basically this is where the strategies exist, okay, and these strategies are shared by all the vaults. So when you saw that huge list of strategies, let me swing back over to it to kind of show you, right? So if you go to deposit, and let's go to some vaults, right? So you have this vault, YEP V2, and it has compound V2 die, right? And then this, maybe this one, compound V2 die. So you see that strategy is the same, but it's actually literally the same. So the money goes into the vault and then goes forward to these strategies, and these vaults share the strategies assuming they have the same strategies selected. So that becomes pretty interesting. So all of the, like, it's not, it makes for depositing and withdrawing less friction, because like you don't have one vault that has a tiny amount of TVL that is hard to get out of that strategy because the strategy might have some sort of time or locking or a certain amount of money that cannot be taken out because of like utilization or something like that. So if all of the vaults are sharing that strategy, then they can kind of help each other out with this kind of to allow for depositing and withdrawing and stuff a little bit simpler. Okay, and then the cost of compounding here, because those strategies are shared, they're also compounding. They're socializing the cost of compounding those strategies with all of the vaults. So every vault, if every vault has its own strategy, then it's only socializing the cost of compounding with the users of that specific vault. Whereas this is every vault that shares that strategy is sharing that cost of compounding. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. And as you can see, there's a lot here. There's a lot more to read. You can go through the docs and read a little bit farther, kind of walk through these like one by one, like click this, click that stuff, and then like a little deeper dive on use cases and stuff like this. There's a lot to the docs here. It would take you a long time to read it. So I'm just giving you a quick little introduction. And if this is something that's interesting to you, you can go and dig a little bit deeper and do some more due diligence for yourself. So I hope this has been useful and interesting. And thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.